Tuesday morning broadcast here at JM and the AM live in studio. One of our dear friends is visiting from Aretz, from Israel. And as I predicted, he is on his phone, understandably, checking to see what's going on after the news that we just spoke about a few minutes ago. The stabbing, the ramming, the injuries, those who have been taken to the hospital in this most recent terror attack in the Gush. Rabbi Dr. Kenneth Brander, it is a pleasure, despite the news, to welcome you to JM and the AM.
It's always a pleasure to be with you, Nachum. A little distracted this morning, but please God, we have 5 schools in 10-minute walk from the place where the terror attack happened, and so far 2 of the schools have fully checked in. That means we've checked with the faculty and all the students, but it happened around 2:15 or so Israel time, which means that some of the boys, we're just finishing morning Judaic classes. So like you see in Teaneck, then they can walk around and, enjoy themselves for 45 minutes. And
with relative calm and peace. And our son, thank God, it was also a soldier in the Gush. And we have a family WhatsApp group called Checking In when these things happen. So he checked in to let us know that he was okay. Yeah, we have a son in the IDF. I don't know if I shared that with you or not, but I like this idea because I can't always get him to respond to the WhatsApps. Maybe a checking in group, he would respond.
Yeah.
And it's ironic because I said this minutes ago before you walked in. I said that in light of this attack, not only will you be distracted by the news of the day, but you will relive how many episodes in the last 2 years where your own family and students have been involved in so much that's been going on, so many difficult episodes. I mean, your schools have been hit very, very hard by this war. So I saw someone the other day from a community in Israel, doesn't matter which one, and he's saying to me, our community got hit the hardest. This is what he said. He said, everywhere you turn, you can't imagine how many soldiers have been killed, how many are injured. But you can make the same claim. You're dealing with so many people and families that are in such difficult situations these days.
Well, I think every community has been hit the hardest, so I don't want to.
But when you're within your own, you think
I don't want to be on that top 10 list.
Agreed.
Although there are people who have put out a top 10 list, and unfortunately, we seem to find ourselves in that list. We have 24 alumni who have fallen in this war.
Wow.
And another 39 first-degree relatives. That means children of faculty or fathers of students have fallen. 20. I can't add the number together. I mean, I have a degree in mathematics from YU, so at least I know how to add. But the bottom line is I'd rather say 24 plus 39.
Yeah.
This week we have a yard site for 4 of our alumni. So we're dealing with that, but even like, for example, today, the horrible news. So one of the schools, one of the women in one of the schools is being treated for anxiety because of this terrorist attack. And I think it's important for your listeners, and thanks to you, they're very well informed. I actually think the mental health issues that we're all struggling with, at whichever community, whichever school system, are just beginning. Because I think people held their lives together when we were under constant threat.
Resilience.
Yeah, there's a certain resilience. To quote my grandson, Saba, your mamad, your protective room is better than ours because you have Wi-Fi and snacks. Okay, so
what a practical youngster.
Yeah, listen, okay. But the bottom line is that now that the Wi-Fi and snacks, thank God, are not necessary in the room, what else are our young people and our not so young people and our older people thinking about? I'm concerned. 2 months ago, I tried to give a shear to the kollel, the Strauss kollel. I try to give a shear like once a month. And before Rosh Hashanah, I gave a shiur on the Sanatokef. A few weeks ago, they're learning Hilchos Nida to take for the Bechina with the Rabbanut, so I did something on that. So before Rosh Hashanah, out of the 18 guys or so in the kollel, there were 4 guys there because the rest were in Gaza. a month, a few weeks ago, there were like 11 guys. And I'm hoping that next week or so, when I get the share, that we actually be a full cohort. But, there's worry, like when these amazing people come home and they're even studying the Makoret, because I'm on the WhatsApp group of the Kollel, so I see the back and forth on discussing issues, halachic issues. Like their wives are worried that when their husbands, the father of their children come home, what's their mental mindset? Can they leave their husband, the father of their children, alone with their kids? That this is a question, and I'm very indebted to Cross River Bank, because they actually gave us some funds to be able to work with these Kollel families to allow us to make sure that the wives are okay and that we do what we need to do. Not to say that the Army isn't trying to do their best, but you have a son in the Army, so you know that the rate of suicides in the Army has increased, and you know that there are additional challenges which are expected. I think that we will see more issues now that we're just worried about terrorist attacks and so on a gush.
Now that this part of the war is over.
Yeah. So, it remains to be seen. And
I met with someone last week from a community in Israel who was bringing this to my attention, obviously looking for funds, because therapy in Israel is not inexpensive. It takes a financial commitment. And he mentioned that in his own community, among religious families, a third have already experienced separation or divorce. You mentioned the children. It's unfortunate that he cited one specific example about somebody who had been raising buildings in Gaza for months and now can't deal with the lack of noise or the lack of activity or the lack of action, and this whole thing seeps into their personal lives with their children, etc. When you mentioned that people wonder about leaving soldiers who are back home with their own children, this is what you mean. That it's just
right.
They're not able to relate. They're not able to have a productive relationship with them. If anything, the opposite. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done. Someone said that in the Yom Kippur War, when someone was suffering from PTSD, they were given a bottle of scotch. And in this war, there has to be a much more responsible, professional way of handling it.
Right. So I think that we've, the country of Israel, the state of Israel, has grown up a little bit since the Yom Kippur War. Although I think this war, because of the length of it, is in some ways,
more difficult, right?
Yeah, more traumatic.
Right.
But I do think, what we've done at Ohr Torah Stone is that we made the decision, thanks to the lay leadership and supporters, that we were not going to leave it to the government. That's the difference between an American running an Israeli institution and an Israeli running an Israeli institution. Like, I'm not used to the government taking care of all my stuff.
All right.
So what we did was we created a full matefet, a full embrace and full embrace of making sure that our 5,000 students and 1,600 faculty and Kollels and whatever, and alumni and the emissaries, 300 plus emissaries of, Baron Amiel, Stras Amiel emissaries, that we have mental health professionals that we hired. So when there is a family in Toronto where the husband went back and is serving in Syria, and the family's from Beersheba, and all of a sudden it's December and there's snow, and this woman with her 4 kids in Toronto, she's from Beersheba. If you have a good sandstorm, she'll know how to clean off the car. But this white stuff, like, what is it?
Never saw a shovel.
Right, right. So all of a sudden, we've hired mental health professionals. We're paying them not the HMO rate. And we've had like 350 faculty and students who've gone through 4 to 6 therapy sessions, a lot of group therapy, music therapy. And we're trying to make sure, to the best of our ability, that we're helping them. And I don't know if we're doing a good job or an adequate job or a great job. We'll find out. But we're doing our hishtadlus. We're doing what we need to do.
And the
I think
government,
that's critical.
And the government, in addition to the funding, which is of course never enough,
Right.
also limits the number of therapy sessions. And to say the least, whoever you're dealing with needs more
Right.
than they're offering.
Right. I'm not blame.
Yeah, of
there's no
course.
blame on the government.
Agreed.
Yeah. I'm just saying that this
Agreed.
is.
But that's the reality.
Yeah.
We have a lot to talk about. Primarily tomorrow night. I don't know if the dinner's sold out or not, but you are going
It
to.
is.
Is it sold out?
It is sold out.
Wow.
Thank God. Well, you know, when you first of all, when you recognize Rabbi Riskin, he should have a refuah shalema.
Correct.
And the first, Rabbi Shlomo Riskin Legacy Award is given to two amazing people, Robert M. Barron, Zatzal, who helped the Jewish community, not just Ohr Torah Stone, whether it's Ner Yisrael, whether it's other institutions,
A lot of day
HaYeshiva
schools.
universities, day schools, as well as creating really a hamlet on the hill, a city on the hill in the Gush, where you have hundreds of young men and kollel families learning Torah and being trained. Robert M. Barron is really an icon of the Jewish people. And when you give him this award and you give the hero of our people, Natan Sharansky, and Rabbi Riskin chose these two first honorees.
Wow.
And he actually called Natan on the phone. And Rabbi Riskin's not well. It wasn't an easy phone call physically for him to make. It's hard to say no when Rabbi Riskin calls you.
Will he be there tomorrow night, Natan Sharansky?
Natan Sharansky will be there tomorrow night, and the Barron family is coming to receive the award.
Where are they from? They're not from the New York area, are they?
No, one's from L.A., one's from New York. One's from New York, very involved in the New York community, and as she has played a leadership role. One is from Los Angeles, and one is from. And one is not able to come, but 3 out of the 4 children are gracing us with their presence, and we're honored to have them.
You'll also recognize tomorrow night at a sold-out dinner. By the way, Lincoln Square is not a small ballroom. It's very impressive that it's sold out, frankly. And you'll recognize the first cohort of the International Halacha Scholars Program, and that is, explain to our audience.
That's an amazing program. What happened was a group of women came to us from what I would call the Dati Lumi, the religious Zionist community, and the more Haredi community, and said, we want to learn more Torah. We live all over the world. We'd like to learn more Torah. So we created an 8-hour-a-week program for 4 years, where Rabrovsky, who is Machaber in many Sfarim and is serious Talmud Chacham, and Rabbanit Chana Hashkas give shir 2 hours a week, and they have chavrusas on Zoom, like for 6 hours a week at least, and they take bechinas, they take tests on issues like Shabbos, Kashrus, Nida Velus, and they become pretty strong experts in those fields. It's a 4-year program. And I told everybody, listen, there are 25, 30 people, young women, professionals, expect to drop off at 50%. Maybe over 4 years, we've lost like 3 or 4 students who said this is too much for me. But these are women who are, for the most part, running schools, deans of Jewish academic institutions. Like one is the dean of a Jews college in England.
Oh, in England.
And, one is the vice principal. I don't know what her formal title is at SAR.
Oh, wow.
And they're just amazing. Dr. Julie Joseph is also in the program. I mean, serious women. And we now have 3 cohorts. So the first cohort, which started 4 years ago, has finished. And they've taken bechinas. I'm reminded a little bit about, the Yeshiva University before this is not the same, but the Chag HaSmicha, there's all these guys who haven't finished some of their bechinas, and there's like a team of people who are calling everybody. That's the same thing here. We had a team of people calling these women who are getting a certificate that they are experts in these areas, saying, you did 5 of the 6 bechinas, whatever, and, at the last minute, some of them finished up the bechinas, and it's amazing. And so we have had 75 women come through this program, and some are learning in very right-wing yeshivot. Some are part of the what I would consider the normal or our normal community crowd, but we're learning Torah together, and it's amazing.
Is the woman whose book you brought me, whose sefer you brought me this morning, is she part of this program? She's
not. She could be teaching the program. I brought you the sefer from Rabbanit Dina Rock. Dina is one of our, Midrash at Lindenbaum is like bursting at the seams, but to work on to focus on the American program, which has 65 students this year and really top students. When I want to know how we're doing with the students, faculty always tells you, "Oh, we have the best year. We have the best year." Like, okay, I'm expecting that. But when I call the principals of the schools in America, who I all know, I have a relationship with them, and they tell me, "You guys got great students," then I know we're in a good space.
Correct.
So she is one of the Ramiot. She's one of the Judaic studies teachers in the program. She teaches Gemara. She just wrote a sefer on the top 50 sugyos in Shas. Top 50 sugyot in Shas, and it has a description, a few pages for each
We're
sugya.
talking about the entire Talmud. There are 50 that she recognizes as the most, this most discussed, most interesting.
I think it's more than most. They're not all the most interesting, but she considers them the most
important to our tradition.
Yeah, essential. Chazaka issues, Migui issues, other issues, and then there's a scan code
QR
where
code,
you can QR code. Sorry,
on each year,
on each year that
you can actually hear her.
You can hear her share on this topic. So it's amazing.
It's pretty amazing. I'll tell you. I'd love to get her on the air and have other scholars challenge her on the 50. I'd like to know what people think she left out. I'd like to know which topics are on the bubble, so to speak.
Right. Listen. Her English is. I've always, heard her speak in Hebrew, but she gives class in English, so I'm sure her English.
Well,
is fine.
I would need assistance anyway because I would have to bring in some real Talmud scholars to challenge the list.
She's ready
to look at that list in advance.
Although I haven't spoken to her, but I'm telling you, she's ready.
Maybe next time we visit Ohr Torah.
You got it.
I just have to figure out who to bring along. But there are people. There are people that have gone through Shas many times.
Yes,
and they could weigh in on this issue to say the least. So that's one thing, and that program is pretty amazing, and you'll detail that for those who are attending the dinner tomorrow night. Obviously, they'll hear plenty about it. And then here I have 32 institutions and programs in Israel and 300 global emissaries, all of whom, I assume these days, are dealing with defending Israel in their own communities, dealing likely with anti-Semitism, because we know what's going on in major cities around the world. And they've really added to their repertoire. They've had to add to their resume because of the current situation. Right.
I mean, the team that trains these emissaries is just amazing. The Baron Amiel, Strauss Amiel, under the leadership of Rabbi Birnbaum, Rabbanit Birnbaum, Rav Benji, and others is just an amazing group. I think the training is really twofold. One is we spend a year training them before they go out. So we have 28 families that we're training now. Right. But it's the continuation of contact. Like, for example, we have a mental health professional whose job is just to be in touch with these 300 emissaries because a lot of them are dealing with issues of anti-Semitism and things of that nature. We had one family who just finished who was on the campus in Leeds. And because he went back to serve in the north, she was threatened with rape, and her children were threatened to be killed. And, the police eventually, after our intervention and the chief rabbi's intervention, actually they had police accompanying them wherever they went. Each one had their own, police person. So, we're dealing with these issues, and I think the greatest piece about Amiel is not just a training they do beforehand, but the fact that we have like spiritual retreats for them. At the last retreat we had, the chief rabbi, Rav Kalman Bar, came, and for the first time in his life, Rav Malamed actually left Israel. 63 years old, he left Israel.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he actually had to get a passport.
Right.
And actually, he was in Teaneck, I believe, last Shabbos. That was the second time outside the country. But my point is that we continue to stay in touch with them. I think we have a Shabbaton coming up sometime in 2026 in North America with all of them, and it's a mishpacha, it's a family.
And the list, by the way, includes places like Ecuador and Norway and Singapore, not
and Teaneck,
not
and
just Europe. No, but I'm saying you'd think that you can make a list of the traditional places where you'd be sending these emissaries. Some of them are obscure, and some of them, they face difficult situations there.
Right, and we started a new program thanks to David Magerman and his Tzemach David Foundation that we're bringing 25 North American high school students from all over the country. At 100 applications
to spend a year,
6 months from 10th grade, second half of starting January through what I call the Yoms, Yom Ha'atzmaut, Yom Yerushalayim, Yom HaZikaron, and till the end of the year, and they're going to be embedded in 2 of our high schools. Neve Chana, Neve Shmuel. Neve Chana was just rated one of the top 10 high schools in Israel for their academic prowess. And
how does a kid here apply for that?
So, first of all, that's out of my knowledge base.
But does it have to go through their principal? Like what?
No, I think there were some schools who wanted it to go that way. Like, we got phone calls from schools saying, we deserve to have more kids than someone else. Like Boca,
I get that.
Like Boca called me. So,
well, they think they have an in on Boca.
Well, they do, but the in goes. We'd like all 25 spots. Like, no, that's not the way it works. But the bottom line is, they wanted it to go through the school, but most places did it differently. And obviously, the social media advertising, talking at the summer camps. So we have like students from like Phoenix, and obviously students from places like Teaneck, but we'll have 13 young women, 12 young men, and they will be part of the community of students, and they will be separate from them because they need some, of their own things. But the bottom line is, it's a new initiative, and I believe that they will come back and deal with what you were saying, Nachum, so correctly, be able to talk about the notion of what's really going on in Israel.
Yeah.
Like, imagine these students having to be in the schools on a day like today when every single kid is being counted. You get a different understanding of what it means to have a terrorist attack, 5 minutes from your school.
And because of the results, God knows how many will be at a funeral tomorrow.
Right.
Or even today,
or tonight.
The way things work.
Yeah. So with that, between that and, we have our program for kids with special needs from Chutz La'aretz, from the diaspora.
That's called?
Darkeinu, the Brodsky Darkeinu.
A lot of success.
Yeah. So
we hear about it all the time here.
Yeah. So we have 24 kids already this year who just came after
great Madrichim.
Madrichim, great leaders, Avi Gans, Ilana Goldscheider. I mean, they are the experts. And now there are Israelis knocking on the door saying, why are you just doing this for
foreigners?
Wow. We'll see.
You can't, I'll tell you, there's no rest in this position, huh?
Yeah, we'll see.
Now you're going to have to figure out.
It's nice for the board to hear about it on the Nachum Segal show.
I'll tell you.
We'll see.
But now we understand why there's so much funding needed.
Yes.
Because now you have to start a program for Israelis.
Yeah, I mean, it's Darkeinu it's a privilege to be able to see kids. We have one kid actually from the Ukraine who was in a Chabad orphanage in the Ukraine, and mother, when she was born with disabilities based on the fact that her mother was constantly in the state of being drunk. And the Israeli government said, we cannot take her into Israel because she doesn't speak Hebrew, and we have no special needs program for her. So Chabad calls us and says, listen, you're the only program that she speaks English, she speaks Ukrainian, she speaks Russian, no Hebrew. The Israeli government will let her come in if she joins Darkeinu. And she came to the Darkeinu program 3 years ago. And she came just with a knapsack. And I was thinking about my father, he should live and be well, who came to America when he was 14 years old and basically just came with a knapsack. And, he would tell me that he would walk to school to RJJ with his father, and that the Rebbe would put $1 or whatever in his hand once a week. And I just said, okay, so we'll take this young lady. And We didn't give her $1, but we gave her a computer and we gave her a cell phone and, all the
2025 amenities.
The 2025 amenities for what my father got in the, in the 50s, I guess, or something like that. Anyways, but Baruch Hashem, what's a privilege.
Tomorrow night, they recognize Natan Sharansky and the family of Robert Barron. He's being recognized posthumously with the inaugural Rabbi Shlomo Riskin Legacy Award. Our best regards, obviously, to Rabbi Riskin. And that's happening tomorrow night at the sold-out Ohr Torah Stone annual dinner. There's an opportunity to still support the cause and to be a donor. That's just go to their website, ots.org.il, ots.org.il, and you can support the work of Ohr Torah Stone. You can get involved. As you hear, there's plenty that needs to be done, and there's a lot of program. We didn't even touch on everything because we can't do everything here.
Right.
But there's a lot happening and plenty of great educational opportunities in Israel that you are in charge of and that are recognized among the top in the state. And we encourage people here in the United States to support the work of Ohr Torah Stone, ots.org.il, ots.org.il. Anything else, Rabbi Brander? Anything else you'd like to add to this conversation?
Yeah, maybe one thing, and that is that I think with, please God, the war coming to an end, and please God, the remaining gufot, the remaining deceased hostages, please God, be returned and buried Bekever Yisrael and in a Jewish grave. We have to focus on the unity in the state of Israel, and we have a program called Katz Yachad where we've changed it to be a grassroots program where our alumni that live in cities around Israel bring people together from Reform to Haredi, and we can't call it a base medrash because not everybody would like that word, so we call it a Beit Mifgash, where they basically come together and they talk about issues, and everybody feels safe. So imagine you have a Reform, woman leader and a Haredi leader sitting together and talking about issues, and everyone in between. So to your listeners, you can Google a restaurant site called HaChote, Hey Chet Vav Tet Aleph. It's called the Sinner's Pizza Shop because they only serve pizza with non-kosher toppings, and it's in Dafka, and it's in Modi'in. And so literally there was a food fight about this place. And of course, because everybody brought more attention to it, the place got more business.
More popular.
So all of a sudden, the head of the Rosh Moatzah, the head of the Modi'in local council, calls us up and says, listen, this is crazy. It's tearing apart, part of our city. But you're the only people that everybody's talking to. So could you help me deal with this issue? So we now have these little councils. We have one in Modi'in. We have one in, more than one in Tel Aviv. We have one in Haifa. We're opening one in Yakne'el. We're opening, another one in Lud. And they're just councils where our alumni and one or two paid professionals are convening these groups. And because the people convening these groups live in these communities, it's not one-off conversations, they're ongoing things. So like
forging relationships.
Yeah. So for example, Hanukkah and all of these places, they're going to have nights where the entire apartment building is going to light Hanukkah candles together and stuff like that. Those who are, who light Mahadrin Min Mahadrin, and those who don't even know what that word means. Right. But that's the way to,
Is Chote still in business? You don't know.
I never bought pizza there, so I can't tell you. But you can Google the website and see if it's still. I have no reason to believe that they're not in business. I just thought that people in Israel in general over the last 2 years started to stop doing things lahachas. I think there are two things. The first thing is people are more spiritual. There are people who are looking to connect to God. That we've experienced here as well. Obviously, not as much as in Israel, but we've had it here. You see people like there are television shows, and the television isn't pro pro-religion, who was saying, I've decided that I'm wearing tznius clothing. I'm starting out with wearing tznius clothing, modest clothing once a week.
Right.
And then I'll move to twice a week. Or people who were at the music festival on October 7th who are now putting on tefillin. Right. Or my son said to me that in his tzanchanim, the officers are now putting on tefillin every single day. They're still not Shomer Shabbos, but they're putting on tefillin every single day. And before Shabbos starts, someone from the Banish unit, the B'nai Yeshiva unit, the Hesder units, they make them give a Dvar Torah for everybody. God forbid that, whatever. Or the Mefaked, will lead Kiddush. Now, sometimes the Mefaked's a Druze who's leading Kiddush. So,
you gotta be careful.
I don't even know if that's considered a bracha levatala or not. But the bottom line is, they can't be Yotzei Kiddush that way. But the bottom line is, there is this energy that is really found, that really pulsates, I think, through the public thoroughfare of Israel at this point in time. And I think it's our job as part of the religious Zionist community, where we both hold the Seifa and the Saifa, the text and the sacred text and the sword. We can be the glue. Your son is glue, because your son represents the ability to serve in the IDF and is committed to Torah mitzvahs. So therefore, whether you celebrate Shabbos on the beach of Tel Aviv or where you celebrate Shabbat, in the Beit Midrash, your son and my son and the thousands of others are really the glue between those two sides.
The picture I show everybody is the one with his submachine gun in his right hand and his safer in his left hand.
Right,
and
that's
everybody in that in that group. Everybody out there, Ohr Torah Stone, check them out, ots.org.il, ots.org.il. Tomorrow night's their big dinner. It is sold out, Baruch Hashem. And Rabbi Dr. Kenneth Brander thanks everybody on this side of the world who does, in fact, pay attention to the work of Ohr Torah Stone and supports the amazing cause. Good luck tomorrow night. And you're heading back to Israel for Shabbat or after Shabbat?
No. I'm Thursday. I have meetings in Florida.
Your old stomping ground.
I have to be Ola Regel to Florida, and then
you're a real New Yorker now.
Yes. And Thursday night I go to Florida. I'm in Detroit speaking in 2 shuls over the weekend, and then flying back first to Newark and then to Israel. Be back Monday morning. Bezrat Hashem. But Nachum, I want to just thank you for. I learn about what's going on in Israel through your radio show also.
Thank you.
Not through your radio show. I don't listen to it on radio. There
are some topics they don't cover over there, huh?
Yeah, there are many topics. So when I want to know the truth, I listen to you guys.
I appreciate that.
To the Nachum Segal Network. But the bottom line is that, I still call it a radio show because, we're the same age.
Radio.
Yeah. And I remember when you only were able to listen to it at a certain time. Now I listen to it,
throughout the day.
11 or 12 o'clock at night, or when I'm trying to walk a few times a week, 5 kilometers and stuff like that. My goal is to finish the 5 kilometers before you finish your... That's the goal. That's my pacing goal. So thank you, Nachum.
I appreciate that. Good to be your partner in that pursuit. And I've heard that from many people. It's not just when they drive in the car. It's also as they're walking and jogging along the roads of both the U.S. and Israel and other parts of the world, I hope, as well. My thanks to Rabbi Dr. Kenneth Brander. Hatzlacha Rabban. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
More coming up. You're listening to a Tuesday morning broadcast of JM in the AM.